welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson. Week 1 Locks is finally here, and we are doing it live as we will every single Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/cover3. If you are tuned in, I'm looking at you, Andrew. I'm looking at you, Brandon. I'm looking at you, other Brandon. Looking at you, Eddie. Looking at you, Ryan. Jump in the comments. Let us know what you think. FIU and the points tonight, right? BY 65. I don't know, man. I wouldn't touch FIU with a 10-foot pole.
I would never bet on FIU. Frankly, anybody who does is a degenerate.
Yes.
Just like the people who went there. Yeah,
absolutely. Dwight, also good to see you. Bud in the house as we are here live for our Week 1 Locks. One of the things that we do at the very beginning of these shows is just a very, very quick review of the previous week to set us up. So let us see how everyone did. Tom, it was a 2-2 week. Caught an L on the UConn plus 27.5 and on Hawaii plus 18. A winner with your beloved Miners and New Mexico State. Team total under 23.5. Never a doubt. They only had a single field goal. Any notes from the week 0 slate?
I mean, we'll get into it. I'm sure Bud's talked about it too. Like, we did really well as a team, and that's great, even though I was only 2-2. But like, the lines were so wildly off so far. Like, even including last night's game where UAB closed as a 15.5 point favorite and won by 31. So far, we are seeing like a difference between the final spread and the final score of an average of 12.9 points per game in games involving FBS teams. So it's been a wild first few days.
Chip, first of all, Chip, Danny, Bud. Lock Unity goes for a win. That San Jose State covering the 23.5. Caught double lock fight win against DK. Illinois plus 7, Illinois, Nebraska under. Though that under, goodness gracious, that thing was a miracle. And then Fresno, UConn under 63. UConn did not score a single point. Feeling good about where we are there. Danny went 3-2. The win on San Jose State, a win on the Fresno UConn under, and a win on the under for UTEP New Mexico State. Whole game catching a little L on those two lock fights. Danny, notes, thoughts from week 0?
Hey, I'm happy to be over 500. Like, I feel like I'm flying blind of some sorts because we don't have any information, right? Total new rosters. We've got first-year coaches. We got new quarterbacks. So I'm just happy to be like, I feel like I should get stronger the more games we actually get to watch. So early in the season, just trying to look for edges, trying to find small little advantages here and there. So I'll take it all day long. Although I did take some live bets in the Nebraska-Illinois game that I loved while they were happening. It got down to where Nebraska was a 2.5 point favorite and the total went down to 42.5. So I jumped on both, got the over the 42.5, and came up short on the Nebraska minus 2.5. But I still kind of liked it from the way the game was unfolding in the first half. Clearly got the over, but was wrong on Nebraska all along. Never again will I bet on Adrian Martinez. That's period. That's a note for me. Yeah, never again. Done.
1 week in and we've got a principal already.
Yep.
Bud bringing it home, 6-0, like Andrew and a bunch of other Cover 3 listeners, just loving the UCLA triple up. Once again, for those listening, that was minus 9.5 in the first half, minus 4.5 in the first quarter, and team total first half over 22.5. Also, the lock unity with San Jose State and the under with UTEP New Mexico. Bud, what do you think about your 6-0 week?
I mean, hey, I'm not going to give it back. Hopefully, I probably won't go 6-0 every week, but I do think that there's a whole lot of variance in these numbers. This is kind of a weird week because a lot of these have been out for a month, right? Next week is really, to me, next week is kind of the week 1 as far as lines that haven't been out a whole month. I've got a lot of stuff on my sheet that I'm like, this is a cross off. It's a cross off. Because I feel like I missed the best of the number. There's some stuff out there. It's like, oh, do I take plus 22? Well, no, because it opened 28, right? But you got to see your spots and you got to pounce early, I think. And then, like Denny said, watch the games, figure out what you were wrong about, figure out why you're wrong about it, and adjust. I mean, UCLA covered for me all three ways plus the money line, and yet I still wasn't that impressed with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So I'm not like super chomping at the bit to bet that this week. We'll see.
All right. Y'all ready? Week 1. Y'all ready to lock it up?
Let's do it.
As much
We're picking locks.
my blue plate special 5-star locks are coming.
Since 2005, when Service Academy's
Go get these locks. 5-star master lock. Lock it up.
the under is 33-9-1. We've gone over it a million times.
You want these locks?
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
All right. So 6-0 plus 6 does give the honors on the tee box for week 1 to Mr. Bud Elliott. You can take it according to the rule wherever you want to go. For the listeners who are getting it, I would suggest if you got any Thursdays that we try to get those here at the beginning of the show. I know some people listen to it in segments, but the rule is you can take us anywhere you want to go.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and take these honors on the box, and there's a whole lot of good Thursday games to take a look at here. Keep in mind that Temple and Rutgers, I do have a play on that, but that got moved to Saturday. So I will go ahead and hold that. I'm going to take us to Raleigh. This number has passed over what it opened at. It opened, I think, 15. It's now 18, 19. Look, guys, 18 and 19 in college football are pretty much dead numbers. People don't generally win by 18 or 19, so I don't really care. For the purpose of the pod, though, I mean, I'll take I see 2 18 and a halves, but I'll give out 19. That's a little more widely available, I guess, at even juice. Go ahead and give me NC State. I like the Wolfpack. I think power ratings do not really do them a service with Leary having missed about half the year last year, and I think he's a much better quarterback than Hockman was, and I think that they will have a big-time advantage on both lines of scrimmage against a USF team that I think Jeff Scott is doing a good job there, but I think they're very far away.
Point of order. If there are 18 and a halves available, you get it at 18 and a half.
All right, I'll take the 18 and a half.
I see
Granted,
even better. I still see a 17 and a half. Do you guys not?
Where?
I do not see that, but
see.
I would.
Danny's got those Costa Rica.
I got
Danny's on acid
bootleg.
I actually don't want the 17 and a half because I feel like people are going to call me out on taking fake numbers. So I do see some 18 and a half. So I'll take the 18 and a half.
But you're still comfortable with it at 19.
Yes. Because 19 is a dead number.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Lock agreement there. Would take up to 20. Like let it keep riding. If you're listening to this a little bit later and it's Thursday, we've talked a lot about this NC State team, discussed them on the ACC win totals. And guys, it was a very nice 69 degrees when I woke up. It feels amazing in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. Feel good, play good. The energy in that stadium is going to be electric. And I do think that while I was initially considering just a first half play on the Bud Elliott principle that with a road trip coming up to Mississippi State, that in the second half, if they have created a lot of distance, that they might, park the bus, just be handing the ball off, not try to do anything too crazy. I still think that over the course of 4 quarters, the difference between these two teams, NC State, the 4th best team in the ACC, and USF, one of the 3 worst teams in the American Athletic Conference, is 3 touchdowns. So would take this up to 20. If you want to make that first half play, I like it, but I'm going to go NC State full game for the lock spot.
Chip, I think the other reason why I don't want the first half necessarily is because you're on the other side of a tougher number. It's pretty much painted 10 and a half across the board. I'd rather lay 19 full game than 10 and a half here.
All right. So we got 2 lock agreement, 2 in on NC State. I've got 2 other Thursdays. Jeez. Okay.
I've got 1 Thursday. So what's yours?
I'm going over the total in Ohio State, Minnesota. And do I still have it under 63, 62 and a half, somewhere there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 63, obviously key number.
Yeah, I got 62 and a half. Yeah.
There's plenty of 62 and a half.
Yeah, let's go ahead and punch that up. I'm a little bit wary of laying the points with Ohio State because my only question mark about this Ohio State Buckeyes team is on the back end of the defense. I think they're awesome along the defensive line. I think that offensively, we discussed ad nauseum about how explosive this team can be, especially at the wide receiver running back position. And CJ Stroud should be really good. So as I'm playing out this game in my mind, I don't think Minnesota, I mean, there's been nothing from Minnesota's defense that leads me to believe that they are going to be the ones that are going to really create some stops. And it might be an over that I have to sweat a little bit. Maybe they sputter a little bit out of the gates. I think we got blackout status for the Golden Gophers. And listen, blackout Iowa, got Ohio State back in the day. You've got a blackout Purdue, got Ohio State back in the day. But that wasn't a Ryan Day Ohio State team. I think that they're going to be able to put up points. And it's a little bit of respect for Tanner Morgan, Muhammad Ibrahim, and this Minnesota team that I don't think is, they've got no reason to quit. Like I could see some garbage time touchdowns being able to get us to where we need to go to get 63 or more. Ohio State, and I've said this on CBS Sports HQ all week, but Ohio State gets off the bus in 2021 and scores 40 points, period. And I think that they could hit 50 in this game. And I think that we can get a couple of touchdowns from the Gophers as well. So give me the over 62.5.
I am also making a play on this game, but it is not on the total because I am not a coward. I am going to lay the points with Ohio State. Now, there is a 13.5 available at one shop, but it is heavily juiced, and I'm so confident in it, I would rather just take the regularly juiced play. So I'm going to take Ohio State minus 14 against the Gophers. You're right, Chip. Ohio State's going to show up and score 40 on everybody. I don't know that Minnesota can score more than 24 on Ohio State. And I also, just looking at trends too, like since Ryan Day's taken over the job on the road in Big Ten games, like we've talked about how they haven't lost any Big Ten games, but they're also monsters against the spread on the road under Ryan Day. They've been 5-1 against the spread in his 6 road games within the conference. I just think that Minnesota, I have some questions about them. I think that they're getting a couple players back on the offensive line, which is huge, but I don't know. I'm not 100% certain on the status of Chris Ottman-Bell, how healthy he is. I know he's been injured in camp, but I have, what you have heard is he's progressing well. I do expect him to play tonight, but that offense last year, I know there were problems on the offensive line, but I just didn't really like the offense and its plan very much. And I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do against this Ohio State defense. I'm not sure if they have the receivers to really test that Ohio State secondary. So I think that this could end up being a boat race, which is absolutely nothing about Minnesota because I think Ohio State's capable of boat racing everybody in the Big Ten, and it's just kind of something you have to deal with.
I'm in lock agreement with one of you. I'm going with Chip. I'm going on the total. Give me the over. There's something about this game. Like if I was leaning towards possibly taking Minnesota, PJ Flex 4-0 as a double-digit dog in the last 3 years with Minnesota, but I just don't have a certainty about it. I think it's a tough spot because I think there's the human tendency of the Ohio State Buckeyes to be looking forward to the Oregon game. Like, it's a distraction, but you have to go on the road in a hostile environment with the quarterback making his first start. But as I've said all along, this offense, my 9-year-old daughter might be able to go out there and hit the over for us. So if she can, I'm going to do it with CJ Stroud. And I do think the reason I kind of like Minnesota to hang around is they're not going to be anywhere near as explosive as Ohio State, but they got 5 veterans on the offensive line, 4 redshirt seniors and another senior on there. They got a great back in Ibrahim. And I'm still not sold on Ohio State's defense. Like we know Kerry Combs is going to get more multiple and he's going to start throwing more looks, but I still need to see that back end get a little bit better. And I want to see a defensive line that is a little bit more dominant than we saw last year for Ohio State. So I'm just going to play the over on this one. So that's where I am with this one.
Somewhere Barton sheds a single tear. The over army has returned.
Yes.
That's right.
We're back.
All right. Go ahead, Bud.
I'm just really interested if Chris Ottman-Bell plays. He said the last thing I could find Flex saying about this, and for those of y'all who don't know, Ottman-Bell is the stud receiver for Minnesota. And I really don't think they have a whole lot of other good receivers out there. Like he's very important to this attack. Quote, Ottman-Bell is a little more kind of advanced in terms of a game time decision, but I won't make that call. Chris will make that call along with our medical team. He's kind of more day-to-day now. We want to do what's best for Chris. Like that's not super confidence inspiring for me. I really thought about betting Ohio State here. I also thought about betting Ohio State team total 38.5. But
That's a good play. I'm not going to lock that up, but I'll go ahead and comment right there. If I'm going to stick by my 40 points every time they get off the bus, 38.5 is a good number.
I'm going to pass. I'm not trying to add stuff that I didn't have in my sheet, but like that's the key to me. If I don't think we're in a range where we're going to miss on big time key numbers here, I'll wait to play the game. I may play it on Saturday or late tonight. Excuse me. We'll see.
I'm a little bit worried because I think that this is going to be a little bit less neutral and a little bit more favoring the western part of the state. But are there any 10.5s, Mr. Fernelli, for the ECU Pirates as they take on App State on Thursday night in Bank of America Stadium in the headliner, while some other two teams are going to be playing on Saturday in that same place?
You're looking for ECU getting 10.5?
Yeah.
No, the best I can find you is 9.5.
This morning you could have found it. They're getting steamed as we talk, Chip. My whole screen's lighting up red.
Lock. Yeah, give me the Pirates. I would love to be proven wrong because I love Sean Clark comes in, former offensive line coach, somebody who came up in the app program, and he has made the Mountaineers into this team that they're going to run behind a great offensive line. They're going to ground and pound. They've always got like 2 or 3 running backs that can cycle in for each other. Any one of them could potentially go for 100 yards. Defensively, they've been really solid sort of throughout the entire Sun Belt era. I cannot shake everything I saw from Chase Bryce as Duke's quarterback last year. And I hope he improves because I feel mean. I feel downright mean stepping out here and believing that a fade Chase Bryce is a principle that I might take a lot. But you know what ECU loves? ECU is like a great chip on the shoulder team. They are a great, we care about playing this in-state or this regional opponent more than they are even ready for us. And so if we're going to think that with all the time that Mike Houston has had over the last couple of seasons trying to build towards making ECU a more competitive team in the American Athletic Conference, I think they're fired up here. 10 was like, okay, like let's buckle up and go. But I still believe in the principle. So I'll take the 9.5 while it's still available while we're taping, because I think this could be a touchdown game.
I mean,
you're going to have a sprinkle too?
You've got the sharps on your side.
All right. Okay. We got to save sprinkle. Sorry, guys. I'm new.
It's my first day.
Okay. Anything else for Thursday? And then I don't open the board.
I don't have anything left on Thursday, but I do have a Friday.
Okay. Hit it.
No one on Boise State, UCF? No.
Oh, I have
5 battle.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead, bud.
It's a quarter play though. Some people in the comment section are gonna get mad. Under 14.5 in the first quarter.
All right. So that plays in. I'm going to take the under for the game. So we're kind of along the same lines. I don't hate yours either. I might even jump on that as well. I just think you could see 2 new offenses, new coaches. And I know, Boise State more continuity, but Gus, how's it going to work with Dylan Gabriel? An offense that was flying up and down the field. I know Gus wants to go fast, but it's a different look to it. Curious to see what happens with Dylan Gabriel. I just think this will be more of a defensive adjustment, feeling each other out type of game. So I'm going to take the under 69.5. Can I get that?
Best I see is 68.
Okay, perfect. 68. Give me that.
I will say though,
I live about 10 minutes away from UCF. And the weather tonight, if you guys can see this on my phone, we're looking at 78 degrees at kickoff. It is not Florida hot here today. The hurricane, really sucked a lot of the humidity out.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nice outside today. I don't think the heat is going to be quite the factor some people do.
What's also strange is like at Caesars, the total is currently 68, but I could see it like place like DraftKings right now. It's 66.5. You normally don't see a 1.5 point difference on totals.
So but is there a chance of storms tonight?
We're going to get some storms this afternoon, which kind of stinks. I was hoping I'd be able, maybe get 9 in this afternoon. But
must be nice.
Look, it's Central Florida, so there's always a possibility of storms popping up, but generally that we get those more afternoon than we do evening time.
See, my read on this game was I didn't want to touch it. So many unknowns. I was fascinated by it. I think it's going to be so much fun. And I was like, this is going to be one of those 5-hour broadcasts where we got 2 lightning delays. The players got to go in, and these not first time for Gus, but these new head coaches have got to figure out a way to keep everybody focused, and it's just going to be sloppy by the end of it. All of which I will sign up for because we're excited that college football is back, and sometimes those Thursday night games just fall right into your lap.
I will note the offensive coordinator's name slips my mind now, who Andy Avalos hired to be his OC at Boise.
From UC Davis.
Yes, ran one of the fastest offenses in any division in college football. My bet on the under here is I think that UCF will probably try to feel them out a little bit early on offensively and make those guys drive. And I don't think Gus is going to go as fast as Josh Heupel did. I mean, Heupel was really like Briles style fast. I think Gus is more in that like upper quartile of tempo when he wants to, but it's kind of more of a selective tempo. Gus's entire offense is not like tempo based, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. So I think we could have a slow start in the UCF game.
Yeah, he wants you to go once they get like first downs and explosive plays, and those were so hard to come by the last 2 years with the Auburn offense that you just didn't get to see them. The Gus like go type scenes from the sideline. All right, so right now we've got Chips in with 3, Danny's got 2, Bud's got 2. Tom, take us where you want to go.
Friday night. I think anybody who ever pays attention can see this one coming. Northwestern, Michigan State, under 46.5. We don't know who Michigan State's quarterback is yet. It's either going to be Peyton Thorne or Anthony Russo. I think neither of them are somebody who you really feel like are game changers at the position. I think that we know what Michigan State's identity is and what it's going to try to be. And we definitely know what Northwestern tries to do. And we also know that Hunter Johnson has won that starting QB job, and his little cameos, Northwestern's quarterback a couple seasons ago, did not go well. We know that they've lost their starting running back for the season. We know that they lost a guy they were expecting to be a starter on the offensive line for the season. So I think that Northwestern offense is going to struggle a bit. And just for fun, I looked this up. In the playoff era, the under has been very good in Northwestern games. But if you put the total, if you just look at totals between 42 and 49, which are kind of important numbers in football, the under is 18-6 in Northwestern games. And this total's at 46.5. So yeah, lock it up.
I have a play.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I have bet this 4 ways. I'm not going to give out 4 picks on a game again, because some people didn't like that. I will just give you my best one here. Under 24.5 team total for Northwestern. First of all, I do think Michigan State wins the game, but I think they win the game because Northwestern's offense will suck. So I have more confidence in Northwestern's offense not being good. Under 24.5 is I've got some plays this week that you guys know in the group chat I hammered, but among the ones that are still available, this is probably my favorite.
I hope that wins because it greatly improves my odds.
Yes.
It was I was joking with Robbie Calland yesterday that there are a couple spots here, this being one of them, that we could make Big Ten conference odds. The total is 45. The home team is favored by 3. Sure. Let's go figure it out. Unders in the 40s for your shorties. All right. Who's open floor? Who wants to take it?
I'll go. I'll just jump to a big game here. Alabama minus 19.5 against Miami.
Roll.
I do not see Miami hanging. I don't see that defense being enough to slow down Alabama's offense. Derek King, I love him. He's coming off an ACL. I don't know if he's 100% yet. I think that Alabama's defense will be able to do what the good defenses that Miami faced last year did. Keep King in the pocket, force him to beat him with his arm. I don't think Miami has the receivers to do it. I don't think King is at his best when he's just having to throw and he's not able to use his running ability. I think maybe Miami keeps this close early, but as we get into the second half, I think Alabama's just going to pull away and win pretty easily. So Bama minus 19.5. Under
in this game for me. And that's looking at Alabama's defense as the best unit on the field and, just being open to the idea that with Bill O'Brien in, first like play calling, game planning, Doug Marrone at your offensive line, an offensive line that wasn't even like really settled until very recently, a wide receiver room where I think that Ajay Hall and John Mechie and the rest of this group could be awesome down the line, but maybe it takes a little bit. Miami is pretty good in the secondary, and you got to think that if good Miami shows up here, maybe the Alabama offense sputters a little out of the gates, but I think Miami's offense is really going to struggle. And so are we still at 61?
61 and a half.
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and lock that up. Not a great number, but still my thought on the game.
So I want that.
I'm worried it's too easy. Like for the
did bet the
Bama
under at 62. I also bet the first half. I'm trying to figure out which one I want. Danny, go ahead.
I'm not going to play this game. If I was going to, I would be on the side of lay the points with Alabama. I mean, but to me, it feels too easy. There's just something about it so I'll give you some stats that I saw. Under Saban, the Tide are 14-0 outright, 11-2 against the spread in season openers against ranked opponents in season openers. Saban's Crimson Tide are 6-0 against the spread with an average margin of victory of 23.7. Every win by double digits. I think you're on the right side, Tom. At some point, like it's going to go the other way, but I think everything you said is spot on. And I don't have a great feel about the over or the total either. I just don't feel a great feel
for the 3. Like if you're asking for this to be the third time that Nick Saban has not covered a spread in a season opener, like no thanks. I don't want to be on that side. That's the Danny Cannell at the roulette table.
Yes, and I'm just gonna stay away. I'm like, I had a coach. I was talking on the radio the other day, and I had a head coach text me and say, Derek King just had ACL surgery 9 months ago. He's not going to be able to do what he normally does. And I was like, I know. And he's like, why does anybody think Miami has a chance in this game? I'm like, I don't know why. All that being said, it just makes me nervous that it's too easy.
I don't wish obscene violence or injury on anyone this weekend, but Will Anderson as a free rusher against Derek King is a problem.
Yes.
But do you have any other plays on this game?
I mean, look, I do like the game under and the first half under. I bet it 62 and I bet it under 31.5. But it's the locks pod. So I don't love those necessarily. Like I bet them, but I'm not going to give out 40 picks a week on the locks pod. And I think I have like 30 something bets already. So, but if you're in the comment section, like I would not bet the over in this. The way I think about it, like I do think Alabama is more likely to cover than Miami. How do they cover? Do they cover by scoring a 50 burger on Miami's defense, or do they cover by holding Miami's offense, to less than we think? Probably the latter.
Yeah.
I got a game for you. I'm getting a little behind, aren't I?
I do have I have one Friday night game I forgot. If you
Perfect. Go ahead.
North Carolina, Virginia Tech, under 64. This is just, I think that this is kind of a game script in the way that the game is going to go. I think that Virginia Tech at home will have the advantage, obviously, of being at Lane Stadium, but I also think that they know that if they want to stay in this game, they're going to have to limit possessions and keep that North Carolina offense off the field as much as possible. And I think that's very much in line with what Virginia Tech wants to do. They ran the ball 61.8% of the time last year, which ranked 11th nationally. Carolina's defense, I expected to improve, but in defensive success rate against the run last season, they ranked 79th. So if Virginia Tech does want to run the ball, those numbers suggest that the Hokies will be able to find some success doing that. And I think that's going to be their game plan. They're going to bleed clock, limit possessions, keep it close. And I think North Carolina wins, but I think we come in under by about a touchdown.
That's a tricky game for Mac Brown in the Tar Heels. I don't like anything in this game because I'm bullish on the Tar Heels. I just think this is one of those ones that could derail your entire season if you go in there and just choke it away in an ugly game. Does anybody else have anything on that game?
No, I don't want it. I don't want that either. I don't want to have any investment in that.
Gross. All right, I'm going to go out to the Pac-12. I have a theme in some of my plays today. And you'll understand why. So I'm bullish on the Oregon Ducks. I like them to win the Pac-12, but I think they have a really, really tricky matchup with Fresno State, who already played a game. A lot of these teams have not had full padded practices. The rules, the way they are now, you don't get much contact. So I think there is an advantage from teams who have had a game, a warm-up game to get ready for this week one. Fresno State, we saw what they did. Very impressive week one. Jack Hayner, the quarterback, had an impressive game, 3 touchdowns. Played in the Pac-12, transferred out. There would nothing he would love more than have a big game against a former Pac-12 foe. You also have Oregon. What have we been talking about? The game that's been circled all year long is Oregon's going to go to Columbus. Well, that game's not this week. It's next week. I think Fresno State is able to hang around just enough to cover. What's my number? Can I get 22?
Whoa,
no,
Like 21.
but you can get 21.
21. I got better resources than you guys do, but I'll take the 21 as well here. So give me the 21 and Fresno State.
some Costa Rica book with like a GeoCities blog spot site is just updating these wild numbers.
Danny still has that like 100x rollover he has to satisfy from 2007. I will probably play this game. I am waiting on something, right? It's like the Death Star got to come into range, and then we're going to shoot the laser or whatever it was called. I want team total Fresno 21.
Over?
It's sitting 21 and a half in a couple spots. I think Fresno will keep throwing. We know Oregon doesn't love its secondary necessarily. I don't trust Fresno's defense very much. So I'm just waiting. I'll probably end up betting
They
this.
shut UConn down though.
This is true. This is true. I'm curious as to whether they can actually, I think Fresno will score in the 20s. I'm going to wait and see if I can get 21.
By the way, the game is 11 a.m. local in Eugene. So I think it'll be a sleepy affair. I think key to Oregon sputtering out, a little ugly, and Fresno State could take advantage of that early.
Cover 3 fans, football season is here, so let's raise the stakes with the Cover 3 podcast Pick'em Pool. You can compete against us as well as other listeners for your share of bragging rights and prizes. Get started today by downloading the CBS Sports app or by visiting cbssports.com/cover3. It's really simple. Just sign up and remember to make weekly picks against the spread. Weekly winners get a sweet championship belt, and the year-long winner gets, I kid you not, $1,000 and a guest spot on this podcast. Again, that is cbssports.com/cover3. Every week, we're giving out a sweet championship belt for bragging rights, and the year-long winner gets $1,000, and you get to be on the Cover 3 podcast. That is cbssports.com/cover3 to jump in and compete against us as well as other listeners. Some of you have asked, the code is Cover 3 right there, just like it is in the address. It should auto-populate if you use the link cbssports.com/cover3. But if you need the pool password is also Cover 3. So come jump in and compete against us. Coming up on the other side, more of our Week 1 locks next. So we've had, much thanks to producer Coca. If you're watching us live, youtube.com/cover3, or even if you're not live and you just want to watch the video product for that multi-platform excellence at youtube.com/cover3. We've had some of our picks that have been up on the screen on the ticker. For those listening at home, quick review. Tom's got Ohio State -14, the under 46.5 in Northwestern Michigan State, Alabama -19.5, and the UNC Virginia Tech under 64. Chip's got NC State -18.5, Ohio State, Minnesota over 62.5, ECU +9.5. Go get it now. And Bama, Miami under 61.5. Danny's got UCF, Boise under 68. Also on the Ohio State, Minnesota over, and Fresno State +21. Bud's got NC State as well. The under 14.5 first quarter, and the Northwestern team total under 24.5. Danny or Bud, what you got?
I'm going to go to Monday night.
Go for it.
Ooh.
And I thought this was going to keep rising. It's starting to go back the other way. I'm going to call this out right now on the show before the rest of these 10.5s disappear on the board. This is why you want to watch this live, right? You wait an hour for this thing to get on the podcast.
We move the line.
I'm definitely not moving the line. However, I might have moved the line in Western Kentucky. That was anyway. So I believe that Louisville can run the ball on Ole Miss's defense. I think that Louisville will play a passive style of defense and force Ole Miss to go a little more slow than it wants to go. And I think Louisville is going to be able to keep this game in the single digits. So go ahead and give me that sweet 10.5 with the Cards. I think the Cards offensive line is fine. I don't really think Ole Miss's defense is all that great. So I'm going to go ahead and take Louisville here plus the 10.5. I also considered the under as well, which kind of goes hand in hand with that.
I like it.
We have a dentist pick, by the way, in this game.
Because it's an Ole Miss game. Yeah, what is the dentist?
He texted me. Hold on. So he said, hey, put his name here. I'm not sure if Cover 3 still wants a dentist pick or not now that Barton is gone.
We do.
I'm happy to keep going. Just let me know. I was like, well, do you accept Barton's new insurance with Vanderbilt? Right? Like that's kind of the key. Like it's Barton's still a client, and that's HIPAA, of course. Ole Miss versus Louisville. Here's the dentist. There's been a ton of talk from the Ole Miss camp about the improvement of their defense from last year. I'm not sure I believe it, but it does sound like they are taking it personally, and it can't be any worse than it was last year. On offense, I expect them to be very good, but they did lose their best two receivers in Moore and Kenny Yeboah. This makes me think there will be some early slowness to their scoring and maybe more run plays. First game of the year, maybe not firing all cylinders. As for Louisville, they were only in 2 games all last year that made it to 75. Give me the under 75.5, which I do see out there. I think we'll know pretty early on if this bet is a win or not as well. So first half under will probably also get a hard look from me.
The dentist is on the board.
It's great. Great to have the dentist back. Keep it coming. Yes, we do absolutely still want your plays.
Let me go. I'll hop in here. All right. I'm going to go Big Ten matchup of the week, noon. Wisconsin taking on Penn State. What's my number here for Wisconsin minus? What I have one book is screwing up my whole list here that keeps giving me these bootleg
5.5.
5.5 seems pretty solid everywhere.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and lay the 5.5 with Wisconsin. Penn State, a lot has been made about how they finished the season, starting off rough and then winning out. The teams they won out against were awful last year. They should have won those games. Change in offensive coordinator, but there's not a change in quarterback in Sean Clifford. Wisconsin with my man Paul Chryst in season openers and bowl games. The Badgers are 10-2 outright and 8-3-1 against the spread in those 12 games. There were only 2 losses outright that came against Bama in a season opener and by a point in the 2020 Rose Bowl. So Paul Chryst, one of those guys who thrives in this situation. And I just think the Badgers are a better team right now. So give me the home team and I will lay those points.
I'm good with it. I don't have a great feel on anything in this game. I'm taking more of a wait and see approach with both these teams before I bet it. So I might bet this live, but I don't hate this pick at all.
If Sean Clifford doesn't turn the ball over in the red zone on the road, like Sean Clifford has been known to do, I would maybe give Penn State a shot. But I just threw a lot of ifs out there, and this is called the Locks Pod, not the if-then pod. So, yeah, I'm staying away on that one.
I kind of want to have a Fornelli special Big Ten under parlay in here somewhere. Because I'm looking at the total of this game. I kind of like the under. He gave out the Michigan State, Northwestern under. You have Iowa, Indiana, which I think is a solid under. There are some opportunities out there if you wanted to have some fun.
That's an idea that I think we will use going forward.
I think this number is right. If this does get steamed and ticks 7, I will be betting Penn State. But I think 5.5 is just a perfect dead zone about where it should be. I think Wisconsin's slightly better, and obviously they get home field advantage.
Yeah.
Good luck to Danny. Obviously, I'm not trying to
no fights
talk
today,
smack
huh?
about the pick.
No, I know it's crazy.
We might have some fights coming up. We'll see.
Well, because last week we had so few games to choose from. It was it was inevitable we were going to be butting heads. But we've got this cornucopia of options here in week 1. I'll go next. I'll stick with the Big Ten. I'll stick with one of my favorite plays of the week. I'm taking Illinois minus 5.5 against UTSA. We talked about it a little bit on the show. I just think that this is I think UTSA is a group of 5 team from Conference USA that a lot of people don't really know too much about. Is a pretty good team. I think Jeff Traylor has been very good since he's taken over that program. He's really recruited well. He's really raising the floor of that program from a talent level to where I think that in the next couple of years here, they might be one of the best teams, if not the best team in Conference USA. But I don't think they're there yet, even with Sincere McCormick at running back. And I feel like what we saw from Illinois' defense last week, it was a major improvement on what we saw from the Illinois defense in recent years, particularly in mixing things up and keeping opponent offenses guessing as to what they were in and what they were doing. And they also really focused on taking away what Nebraska did best, which is Adrian Martinez as a scrambler, as a runner. They're going to take that same approach to UTSA, which is to take away their run game. And I think that Illinois' defensive front has the capability of doing that against this UTSA offensive line. And I think if you take that away from the Roadrunners, I don't know that they're going to be able to consistently move the ball through the air vertically against this Illini defense. So I'm taking Illinois -5.5. I think that if you just look at Brett Bielema's career, like at Arkansas, at Wisconsin, they were better teams than the one he has now. But these non-conference games, they generally steamrolled their opponents in those games. And I think I won't be surprised if we see Illinois win this by 2 to 3 scores. So I'm going to take -5.5.
So Brandon Peters threw on Tuesday is the latest report.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Bielema was saying in a press conference this week that Brandon Peters is progressing quicker than they thought. They still don't know his situation for this week, but whether it's Peters or Sitkowski, honestly, I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much anyway.
The other thing here is Lowell Narcisse, one of the UTSA quarterbacks, was described as, quote, about 75% in his way back. Like I am not going to be laying points with Art Sitkowski. Personally, that's a bridge too far at this point.
So that's your principle to go with Danny's betting.
Yes, I'm not laying points with Sitkowski. But like, man, the quarterback uncertainty in this game is interesting. But you don't think Peters is likely going to play?
I don't think Peters is going to play. I think that unless he's 100% ready and raring to go, they're probably going to stick with Sitkowski. And honestly, the way Sitkowski played, I don't think that they're feel like this is with the new coaching staff. I know that Peters is back for a 6th season, but it's all new to them. And I feel like the way Sitkowski played, he might have earned some cred with this coaching staff. They might feel more comfortable with him.
By the way,
Sitkowski. Heck yeah, I'm jumping out and laying these points with Art Sitkowski. Have you seen Le Artiste and what he was able to do carving up that Nebraska defense? He's going to have no trouble with UTSA. This line is way, way too low. Absolutely. Illinois. You know why Illinois is not going to have a letdown? Because I do think that this is a little bit of considering that Illinois might get got. We don't think this is a great team. They just played way above their heads and got this big time emotional win against Nebraska and Brett Bielema's debut. I kind of have to go back to the experience and all your like 22 super seniors, and Luke Ford was in like the recruiting class of 2012. You just think that there's so much more focus from a group that is not young, and this group is decidedly not young. I don't see any letdown spot. Illinois by a touchdown or more. I'll lay the 5.5.
Yay.
I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but you may be able to get 4.5 now, because I'm seeing 4.5 at a couple of these big offshores. So be watching that, y'all. Might even get a better number.
So, yeah, that's right, Dwight. Heisman candidate Art Sitkowski. Okay, for those of you who...
it's 4.5 at a couple onshores, too. So we're changing it up a little bit.
Let's go. For those of you who just joined the stream recently, the ticker at the bottom will have an updated card. I'll go ahead and pop the full board right now so that you can get a shot at it. Ohio State and the Northwestern Michigan State under, Alabama -19.5, UNC Virginia Tech under, and Illinois -4.5 for Tom. NC State is also a lock agreement with Chip and Bud. I'll just do the lock agreements real quick. Lock agreement for Ohio State, Minnesota over for Chip and Danny. And then we got a little Wisconsin -5.5, Louisville +10.5 out there on the board as well. All right. How about, the great thing about sometimes like, these college football neutral site games really bring together, big time programs with big time fan bases. A lot of people don't like them. They say they feel sterile. They don't really think it brings out the best in college football. Well, they clearly are not eyeing one of the games of the week because Jerry World plays hosts to the iconic Kansas State-Stanford rivalry. The Kansas State-Stanford rivalry with their large traveling fan bases filling up the Star at Frisco and all of the bars and restaurants around it. The college football atmosphere inside Jerry World will be electric between Kansas State and Stanford. And I'm telling you that I think that Kansas State's going to win this game maybe by 10. I think Kansas State is a noticeably better football team. And when Skylar Thompson is healthy, and Deuce Vaughn ain't even going to have to run on the lightly mowed grass in Manhattan, Kansas. He's going to be on that fast turf. You ain't never seen Deuce Vaughn run like he's going to run in Jerry World. I think that Kansas State, a team that I think Tom might have slowly lured me into having better thoughts about Kansas State during the Big 12 win totals episode. But especially in this matchup, if I'm down on Stanford, then this is one where I think the Wildcats should win. I have to lay a field goal. And so that's where I'll be with Kansas State -3.
Like it. Not on it. Like it.
I agree. Not lock agreement, but like I don't really want Stanford.
Notre Dame versus Arizona State, no longer the most random Jerry World game. That is true.
When did that happen?
Board's open. Where do you want to go?
Years ago. Well, I've got, how many picks you guys got left? I've got 3 locks left.
Oh, Clemson -3. Say it with your chest.
Ooh.
Even with all the COVID stuff?
Yes.
Okay. All rumors. It's all chat board stuff.
Is it like rumors about a defensive line that has 9 players with starting experience?
And a starting safety and their best receiver. That's what the message boards have. But Georgia's got rumors going on now too.
I'm just saying Big Cinco is like, I'm coming down to the idea that this is not just because they're both huge linebackers who happen to be quarterbacks, but as we start to draw these Cam comparisons, I think that the Clemson offense, even with the uncertainty along the offensive line, with the running back room that's going to be a little bit more of like some Will Shipley, some Kobe Pace, some Lynn J. Dixon sort of figuring out as we go. I think that like this Clemson offense is so much better and going to be able to provide more support than Cam got from that offense at Auburn, that offense that had no one else that got selected in the NFL draft. I think there are NFL draft picks along this Clemson offense, and I think their defense is going to be one of the best in the country. It's just like DJ greater than JT just sort of puts me back in that mindset where big game Dabo, just like he did with Taj Boyd, just like he did with Deshaun Watson, and just like he did with Trevor Lawrence, when they face really good defenses and really good teams, just going to let his quarterback go figure it out. Just hope he makes the right decisions. And I think that DJ is strong enough as a runner and as a decision maker that he's going to be able to figure out how to find wins against this very, very good Georgia defense. I mean, look, Jordan Davis might eat the interior of this Clemson offensive line for lunch right off the snap. But then I think that once DJU is able to escape the pressure, he's going to be able to keep his eyes down the field. They need good tight end play if we're going to really get into the X's and O's of that Clemson offense, Georgia defense. But I still see this as a Clemson win. And so at the short number, I'm going to go ahead and lay those points.
Fight. First of all, I thought we were a Georgia pod. And you're out here picking Clemson in the very first game of the season. I don't hate your pick. I like Georgia. I like Georgia in this matchup because when I look at these two teams, they're really similar to me in a lot of ways. Whereas I know DJ Uiagalelei doesn't have a ton of experience, but I think he's very talented. I think JT Daniels is very talented. I think that the wide receiver position is a question mark for both teams. I think that the defenses are very good. I think that both have very strong defensive fronts. I think Georgia's a little bit, I trust Georgia more in the back than I do Clemson from a talent and athleticism kind of perspective. But where this game really differs to me is that while Clemson's defensive front is awesome, I have more confidence in Georgia's offensive line to be able to deal with it and negate it as much as possible than I do with Clemson against the Georgia defensive front. And I think that over the course of the 60 minutes, that is going to be what makes the ultimate difference in this game, regardless of the plays that DJ Uiagalelei or JT Daniels make. So I'm going to take the points in what I expect to be a pretty close, fun game.
I want to get in this game so bad. I just think the lines are so tight. I would lean the under. No big game under principle for you, Chip. I'm not going to take it, but I would lean towards the under because, I mean, we both talked about how good both their defensive lines are. Question at wide receiver on both teams. Quarterbacks, making their first big game start. You just wonder if they could sputter a little bit, but I just think these lines are tight.
Can I jump in with something that we discussed earlier in the show? I finally found it. All right, it's going down. Fresno team total over 20.5.
Got it.
It happened. It hit. Well, Alderaan came into view.
Mm-hmm. Alderaan, right? That's the name of the moon or the planet.
Yeah. Nerds. What the hell are you talking about?
Dorks.
Talk about something cool like Game of Thrones.
All right, so I'm looking. Danny, come on. Are you running low?
I'm running low. I told Disciplined Danny is back. I gave this one out a little bit before, and I was mentioning it as a Fornelli special. This one to me has it written all over it with Indiana playing against Iowa. Give me the under. The total here. What is the under for this game?
It's 45. It is a Big Ten game where the home team's favored by 3, and it's 45 on the total.
Exactly.
46.
It's a Pam Ward game?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So give me the under on that one. I have another one for you too. Different game. Anybody else on that game? Tom, you want to under Big Ten play?
I'm
no.
on that game.
Yeah, what do you got?
Iowa -3. Assuming that's still out there. If I don't want 3.5. So
it is. Yeah, I can get Danny 46. I can get you at 3.
All right. Yeah. Iowa -3 for me. I just think this is going to be a really boring analysis. I have Iowa about 3 points better than Indiana on a neutral field. This is not being played at a neutral field. So you give about 1.5, 2 points for home field advantage. Thus the 3 makes it a play for me. I don't think they're a ton better than Indiana. I just have to play it. It's a math thing. 3 is valuable, especially in a game with a total of 45 or 46.
Plus, it continues Bud and I's never-ending war on Indiana football.
Correct. Yeah.
And I actually like the side you're on, too.
Cover 3 historian Andrew, once again, furious right now. And he's meeting up the historian's log for the lock spot.
All right, I got another one. I'll go back to back. Sunday night, only game in town. My Noles are taking on the Fighting Irish. Game got down. Was it down to 7? I don't think it's there anymore.
It was 7 on Friday when I bet,
and then quickly went back up. If I was gonna take a side, I do think that's the right side on the outcome, but I'm gonna take the total and take the under. I think this is gonna be a game where I think you're gonna see Jordan Travis. I think you're gonna see a more run-based attack from Florida State, like we saw last year when he played. And I think you're going to see a healthy dose of Kyron Williams for Notre Dame. And I think, they're going to kind of be able to lean on Florida State a little bit. And I'm very curious to see how Florida State plays in this game. But I think it could be a struggle early for both teams to kind of figure out things. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring affair. I'll take the under.
I think you're on the right side, Danny. I made it 31-20. Notre Dame has 4 new offensive line starters. They're expecting to be pretty good. One of them is an All-American candidate they got from Marshall in Kane Madden. And they have a new quarterback. I'm not going to bet this because I do have a hunch that the 2 dudes who were missing for the Notre Dame last year, pretty much all of last year, Braden Lindsey and Kevin Austin, who combined for, I think, 8 catches and 81 yards total, they could be explosive on the outside, and I think they could hit some explosive plays. So I'm not going to be on this. But obviously 31-20 implies that I like the under a good bit more than the over.
Offensive line has a bunch of new starters, but you know what they all are? 6'4", 300 pounds. You know what Florida State's defensive line has? A single 300-pounder. They're starting nose tackle and their backup nose tackle, but like their ends are all 260, 270. Linebackers are in that 235 range. Like if these Notre Dame offensive linemen are getting to the second level, Kyron Williams, Chris Tyree. By the way, Chris Tyree had a huge game against the Seminoles last year when they won like 42-26 or something like that. Notre Dame has won 19 straight games against ACC opponents. 15 of them have been by 10 points or more. Goes all the way back to 2017.
In the regular season.
Regular season. Yes.
No wonder they don't want to join. They'd be bored.
Yeah, give me Notre Dame by 10. So I'll go Notre Dame.
So you're locking up Notre Dame?
Yeah.
So I can get you 7.5.
Yeah, I know. Hook might kill me, but that's I feel pretty good about that matchup at the line of scrimmage. I mean, Bud, you might have dropped that little note in my head because it's rattled around, I think, for 10 days where Florida State's going to be better suited personnel wise to play like Miami or to play North Carolina or to play, one of these more spread them out kind of modern offenses. It's not built for the running backs and tight ends that Notre Dame is going to have, where we're just getting up here and trying to mash you at the line of scrimmage. Styles make fights, and I think it's a bad matchup for Florida State. I hope the environment's awesome. Like, I would love for this Sunday night ABC, like everyone's going to be watching. I hope that it's like close and competitive, but I think that one matchup weakness where it's at the line of scrimmage, Notre Dame's offense, Florida State's defense, it's too big for me to ignore.
I agree.
Cool. I'm going to go way off the radar with this one. And this play, like I mentioned at the top of the show, like so far, the numbers on the games that have been played have been kind of way off base. So this is more me trusting my numbers and hoping that I'm right. But my numbers suggest that I have to make this play. I have Southern Miss as being about 4 points better than South Alabama.
Better?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear this one. Okay, I'm curious.
I've got them beat about nearly 4 points, and they are currently a 1.5 point dog at South Alabama. No offense to the atmosphere at Hancock Whitney Stadium there in Mobile, but I don't think that atmosphere is worth 5.5 points. So I'm taking Southern Miss plus 1.5. I'm just trusting my numbers on this one.
Man, Tom, I'm glad to hear you say that. You actually kind of just talked me off of South Alabama.
Oh, cool. I hope I win now because then I'll feel twice as bad. Nobody has any other thoughts on this game?
No, I got nothing.
I think South Alabama's well coached. I have some questions about how Southern Miss will handle their pressure defense. And I think South Alabama's a better team, but like not enough to where I really feel like jumping on it. I already have quite a few bets.
No, listen, I've got a principle. Don't ever bet the Montgomery Kickoff Classic because you never know what's going to happen in the Montgomery Kickoff Classic. Things get a little weird where they go to the site of the Dollar General Bowl or whatever the Conference USA Sunbelt game is that they play there in December every year. Camellia Bowl, maybe. I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize, Montgomery.
Can I have a more off the wall one than Tom?
Sure.
Please. You want to battle? You want to battle with some really niche shit here or stuff here? Give me San Diego State minus 19 in the first half against New Mexico State. Last year, San Diego State. Let's go. All right. So we know San Diego State has an absolutely great defense.
Yes.
Now, last year, their intent was to play fast and to score a lot of points. Now, it didn't really work out because their quarterback was terrible and they had a COVID offseason. They looked like garbage on offense. But I think that they actually evidenced that intent last year, and they're going to play fast. And I think this thing will be like, 24-3, 24-0 after the first half. So I like San Diego State minus 19 in the first half. I don't really want to lay 30 something plus with the defensive coach.
just to be clear, like this is also in my 6-pack column that will be getting published. So this isn't just and
I don't have access to the editorial side on CBS, so I could not have seen that.
This is very much, we're very much in the same line of thinking on this one. I'm also kind of just in a place where I might be strictly fading New Mexico State for the entire season. Based on what I was able to see last week, it just what I saw from them in the spring, like you lose by 27 to UTEP. And I don't mean to disrespect the Miners, but the Miners have been one of the worst teams in the country the last few years. If you're losing by 27 points to them and you were only able to manage a field goal, I do not have high hopes of what you're going to be able to accomplish the rest of this year on the field.
There's two principles. Well, there's one principle here is it's very important early on to identify the difference between teams that are bad and terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can kind of fade the terrible teams for quite a while. The bad ones, not as much. Same thing as kind of just you really need to know the difference between good and great teams. Otherwise, you're going to overpay on the good teams when they're favorites. Yeah, Tom, I'm with you against New Mexico State. if you guys remember the group chat, I said, has anybody seen the depth chart here for New Mexico State? Because there was a rumor that because they played a spring season, that they had played a lot of guys in spring season, kind of treated it almost as like spring training. And so I didn't want to bet against them last week. I think they played their best guys last week. Their best guys aren't very good. And I'm going to be against them.
Oh,
They got him.
They did.
Somebody
Yeah, he's got butt.
yeah, somebody pressed a button from New Mexico State on Bud Elliott that was out here. Okay, there you go. Did you just you got silenced by New Mexico State?
I think I just have so many tabs open that Chrome just said, no, I'm done. Can't do it.
I've got another first half play. Actually, I need to ask for the clarification here. Can I still get Cincinnati at 13.5?
Has it first half?
Yeah, has it hit 14? Even
Chip, I can get you a 13 flat.
Okay. Cincinnati minus 13, first half against Miami, Ohio. Every game is going to be a statement opportunity as long as Cincinnati has a 0 in the loss column. And I don't think Miami is good enough to be able to slow Cincinnati or score on Cincinnati in a way where this isn't a 17 or 20 point difference at halftime. Now, with huge early season games on the road at Indiana, at Notre Dame, does Cincinnati take its foot off the gas a little bit in the second half? For sure, something that I'm willing to entertain. I actually thought that like Cincinnati, like my numbers say played up to 27, but when I factor in everything they've got in the early parts of the season and the fact that they might want to keep Desmond Ridder healthy, pull him out of the game a little bit early, give the backup some burn on both sides of the ball, I feel more comfortable with going to Cincinnati's top line. So I will take Cincinnati in the first half against Miami, Ohio.
Don't hate it at all.
I've got one more.
Me
what about
too.
everybody else?
I got one.
Not counting sprinkles. I got 2 sprinkles. I've got one more regular lock.
Oh my God, same.
Danny, you good? You tapped out?
No, I got another one.
Okay.
All right. My man Clay Helton kicking off the season with a nightmare matchup. I mean, this is just not what you want to see coming to town. Mountain West champion San Jose State with 6th-year senior Nick Starkel coming to town. I think they get out with a win, but I think this could be just dangerous enough where it's one of those games where it's ugly. It's way closer than you wanted it to be, but you walk out of there and say a win is a win. We'll just take it. We'll move on to the next week. Give me San Jose State getting how much? What's my number?
14.5.
14.5 is
Great
perfect.
number.
Love it.
Great
Love it.
number.
That's a lovely hook to have.
It is going to be so funny when it's 17-10 at halftime of this game.
Right?
Like
you guys are all going to be saying, fire Clay Helton. Get rid of him.
Everyone, and it starts at 5:00 Eastern, 2:00 local, so it doesn't fall perfectly in the broadcast windows. So it's going to be a score bug that pops up and just gets a double take from everybody when they're watching other action. It's like, why is San Jose State up 7-0 midway through the first quarter at USC?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lock it up here, but I endorse that pick for sure.
And they already played a game, San Jose State.
Is that
Get that under your belt?
Yeah,
A little warm-up game.
A little bit of a theme for Mr. Cannell this week. All right.
Not enough to trust Illinois, though, huh?
No, you guys are drinking that Kool-Aid a little too much.
Give me Marshall minus 2.5 at Navy. This is one of the 3 best teams in one conference against potentially one of the 3 worst teams in another. Now, yes, power ratings wise, American Athletic Conference, noticeably better than Conference USA, but I still think there's something to be said for where this Marshall team is and the fact that Charles Huff comes in and inherits a pretty good situation. He's got a good quarterback in Grant Wells, and he's got an offense that got used to being pretty effective. I think they'll run the ball well against this Navy defense. And shout out to Emory Hunt for this one. When is the best time to have your triple option opponent? It's week one when you've had all off season and fall camp to go ahead and get your squad ready. So it's a great spot for Marshall. I think Marshall is the better team. And this is one that the Marshall play, I would take up to 7. So sure, give it to me.
I can
Don't
see
hate
that.
it.
A lot of
Yeah.
smart guys I know are on that chip. I'm not sure how to power rate Navy because of how weird they were last year, so I'm staying
Mhm.
away. Like I don't trust. There's some teams I'm just not willing to bet on or against early on this year, and they're one of them. I just
Yeah.
don't trust it. But if I had to bet it, I would be on your side.
Yeah, because I was also considering Army Georgia State this week, but for the same reasons. I was like, man, I don't know what to expect from. I want to wait and see on these service academies.
Anecdotally, Georgia State as a favorite seems suspect, but I'm not touching that one.
You know,
Shout out.
Georgia State's better than I think some people think.
True, but as a favorite, it's new territory.
It's true, and their run defense is not great.
Not as spectacular, no.
I will say 2 more reasons to watch this on YouTube. Number 1, you're getting this live. This Tennessee game that I bet in the Buds Bets column, I didn't give it on the show, but it already rocketed up from 35 to 37 while we've been broadcasting. Stuff is getting steamed live. Like, I don't know if people realize this. The limits go up during our show. A lot of these offshores that'll take 5,000 now will take 10,000 kind of around this time on Thursday. So you got to watch us live on YouTube if you want to get the freshest of the number. Second shout out, watch us live. Kier Costner in the comment section points out that the best safety for New Mexico State is missing the first half of this game because it's the carryover targeting ejection.
Jeez.
Which is totally the reason I was betting this game, right? Is because New Mexico State safety's out for the first half.
That's 100% Kier. We didn't need you to tell us that. We already knew. No, seriously. Awesome job. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm tapped out till money line. Is that where everybody else is?
I've got one left.
Okay.
I am taking. This is one of those situations where I feel like it's a short dog, and the short dog has the better quarterback in the matchup. I'm taking Nevada +3 against Cal.
It's 3.5.
I'm taking Nevada +3.5 then.
I don't hate that at all. You think both teams will score?
Yeah, but I feel like, this is going to be kind of I think Cal's going to try to keep it low scoring because that's what Cal does. But I just think that if that's the case and it's a close game, I want the quarterback. And Carson Strong, he's the best quarterback in this matchup. He's going to be the best quarterback in a lot of the matchups, which is why I think Nevada's a team that it doesn't have a ton of talent around him, but I think he's very good and he elevates what they have. So there's going to be a lot of those like short spread matchups in the Mountain West this year where I'm probably going to be looking at Nevada.
I love that play. Capital L, love that play. Big Wolfpack guy. All right, let's review Tom's card. Ohio State -14, Northwestern Michigan State under 46.5, Alabama -19.5, the under 64 in North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Illinois -4.5, Georgia +3, the first half for San Diego State at 19.5, Southern Miss +1.5, Nevada +3.5. Chips card, NC State -18.5, Ohio State, Minnesota over 62.5, ECU +9.5, the under 61.5 in Bama, Miami, Illinois -4.5, Clemson -3, K-State -3, Notre Dame -7.5, the first half for Cincinnati, got it at 13, Marshall -2.5. Discipline Danny's got the under 68 in UCF Boise, the over 62.5 in Ohio State, Minnesota, Fresno State +21, Wisconsin -5.5, the under 46 in Iowa, Indiana, the under 56 in Florida State, Notre Dame, and San Jose State +14.5. Bud's got NC State -18.5, the first quarter under in UCF Boise, 14.5, Northwestern team total under 24.5, Louisville +10.5, the Fresno over team total 20.5, Iowa -3, and the first half San Diego State -19.5. Okay.
Can I throw 2 more on after? I thought I had so many more than everybody else. I don't want to be the guy that makes chips zoom out. Okay. Give me Kentucky first half. Can I get 7? 17s are gone. Damn it. All right. Give me Kentucky first half team total over 23. And actually 23.5. That 23 is moving. 23.5 over Kentucky first half team total. I believe Kentucky's going to play faster this year. They want to throw the ball. I really have a lot of questions about Louisiana Monroe. However, I do not want Kentucky for the full game. Mark Stoops did coach for Jimbo Fisher, who was tight with Bobby Bowden. I don't think he's going to be anxious to run up the score in the entire game because obviously Coach Bowden just passed away. But I think first half, they will put it on him. I think Louisiana Monroe might be sneaky bad, but they're going to be sneaky bad and fast because Rich Rod is the coach and Rich Rod's son is probably going to be their quarterback. So they're going to give a lot of possessions for Kentucky to showcase this new offense. And I do think UK will try to chuck it around quite a bit because they have Missouri on deck and they want to go ahead and get that going a little bit before they have to play a conference game. The other one, I talked about it on the Wednesday show. Hook 'em.
Yeah, you got to get. Where's it at right now as we speak? 8?
Yeah, like I'm going to give it out at 8. Look, I will wait on this thing before I fire. If it looks like it's going to go to 10, I'll go ahead and take 8.5 or 9 or whatever. 7's the number you really want here, but for the pod purposes, I can't wait any longer. We're at an hour. Give me Texas -8.
Let me go lock agreement with that one. I was looking at that one. I had it in pencil. I'm all gas, no brakes, baby. Let's go. But I also had it down as a potential. Wouldn't it be funny if I'm not going there?
We have no fights there?
No.
Okay.
No, I like the over, but the card was too busy. It ended up being a scratch and didn't make my final one. But if for the viewers and the listeners, I kind of think Louisiana is going to be able to score on Texas, but I don't know if they'll be able to get stops against Bijan Robinson, Hudson Card, and the Longhorn offense. All right. It is that time of the show where we turn to the cash register, where we're looking for these money line sprinkles. Last week, Tom and Chip cashed Illinois plus 235. Some dummy named Chip lost New Mexico State plus 320. That it means Tom is 1-0, Chip is 1-1, Danny and Bud opted out of week 0. Tom, take us where you want to go. Money line sprinkle.
Should I do both or just one?
Let's go ahead and do both.
All right, the first one will be in line with a lock earlier. I'm taking Georgia plus 135 because I don't just think they're going to cover. I think that they are going to win, at least often enough to cover that price. And my other one, going against Danny here. Sorry, we can't both win, but I just think this is a flyer worth taking. I'm taking Penn State plus 190 to beat Wisconsin.
I like it. I mean, if you think it's some good value, nearly 2-1. If you think that Penn State's going to be able to surprise some people, Bud, money line sprinkle.
Okay. Can we go to Danny first? Actually, I'm kind of debating between these two.
Yeah, I'll give you one. I might have 2, but I'm going to kind of hear what you guys say. Again, theme of the day, teams that have already played. I know this was a mockery around college football when you saw the home crowd at UCLA versus Hawaii, and everyone was, oh my goodness, no one cares about football. I think they show up this week for a game against LSU and the Tigers. Again, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a liability. I think he plays much better than he did, completing 50% of his passes against Hawaii. Didn't look great, but we saw a run game that was potent, that could take the load off his shoulders. LSU, too many question marks for me. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Neither one have called plays before. I like Max Johnson a lot. I like Kayshon Boutte, but I think it's going to take some time. Going on the road to the West Coast and having practice move this past week, they've had a lot to deal with. Give me the upset. UCLA knocks off LSU.
BROOOOOONS. Bruins. UCLA money line. I think that UCLA will be able to run the ball on LSU, and I think LSU will be able to throw the ball on UCLA. And as we're getting into the real nitpick of what I think is going to be a fun back and forth, I think it's a game that UCLA can win. I like the experience that they had. I love the way that they started against Hawaii. What we saw from Hawaii's defense is clearly not what we're going to see from LSU's defense. But I do think the physicality of that offensive line and the way that Zach Charbonnet was able to just get it rolling in that game, that's a great way to be able to play winning football. So with an advantage in the trenches. Oh, how about this? I think in the weird way, the SEC team's better on the perimeter. The Pac-12 team is better in the trenches. Like we always think about the SEC, the reason that they're better is they're better on both lines of scrimmages. That is not the case here. I don't like UCLA's wide receivers as much as I like LSU's. I don't like UCLA's secondary as much as I like LSU's. But old school SEC football is actually happening with the Pac-12 team. And so I will take the home dog as my first money line. My second one is is just jumping out the gate with Talia, man. I mean, we've got a fun West Virginia, Maryland game. I think it could get weird, and I think there's a decent chance that the Terps win. So with some good athleticism, with trying to get things going, and for both these teams, it's the kind of game where it could determine whether you're bowling or not. I love the way that the border war, the stakes of needing this win for both of these coaches and both these programs. I'm going to go with the home team there as well. So Maryland and UCLA, a couple of field goal dogs are my money line sprinkles.
Give me the Hokies. Plus 190.
Yep.
There's 4 I debated here. I'm not going to give out 4 money line sprinkles. I think North Carolina might be really, really good, actually. But I think there's a chance that they're not fully ready for this opener. I do like Justin Fuente in openers. I think his teams are typically pretty prepared. I think on Saturdays or Fridays, hopefully in this case, he's a good coach. The other ones I looked at, I did take a piece of Temple plus 520 at Rutgers. That game's been moved. I think Utah State, anything plus 650 is worth a look at Washington State. And Chip, I want to get in on that Maryland with you.
So are you locking up Utah State though?
Well, I figured it's probably not good to do 4 money line sprinkles.
Cool.
But
but Maryland and VTech, you do it.
Maryland VTech. Yeah, we'll keep it a little bit reasonable.
Same sort of thought on West Virginia, Maryland.
So I bet the over in this game, which I think pairs better with a Maryland victory than it does with a West Virginia victory, even though I believe West Virginia's defense will be slightly worse than last year. And I think their offense under Neil Brown, will improve some. I think a higher scoring game favors Maryland. So since I bet the over, I think this game will score in the 60s. I think that favors Maryland a little bit more.
Shout out to Eli. Maryland loves season openers against the Big 12. Let's go Terps.
Did we see the comment? I put this in the private chat by Fireball 1207.
Yeah.
He said, it looks like Danny Cannell.
Why does that dude look like Danny Cannell?
I did see, I think Coca threw it up there for everyone to see. I just realized about 3 minutes ago that you could actually follow along the comments, like by clicking into the chat room. So now I'm going to be so distracted. Next episode, I won't even be paying attention. I'll just be reading the comments.
Discipline Danny. Stay focused.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm going to go eyes focused right now. I'm going to have the blinders on.
Adam's got the jokes. I thank you very much for tuning in, Adam. I definitely would have skipped class to watch the Cover 3 podcast.
Yeah, you learn more here than you ever will in a classroom.
That's 100%. You can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fernelli. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Enjoy the locks. We will be back live again on Saturday night. Exact timing TBD. We'll wait for Georgia and Clemson to be put to bed and sort of see where UCLA LSU is. Maybe we are broadcasting as that game is concluding. Would not be the first time, won't be the last that we have that kind of scenario. But just sort of keep your eyes, follow on Twitter at Cover 3 Podcast or any of us. We will be sure to be put the word out to let you know the exact timing of the live Saturday night reaction show. And gets posted right to the podcast feed. So if you're used to taking that in on Sunday mornings, or shout out to all y'all in Australia who are getting your Sunday started like right after I hit publish. It'll be there at somewhat of a regular time. Gentlemen, this is fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.